Hello, my name is Ola Ray, better known as the girlfriend that worked in the Thriller video with Michael Jackson. I'm here today to talk about my book. It's called The Thrill of It All. And in my book, I tell a lot of stories about self preservation, hope, faith, deception, love, forgiveness. Um, is I just talk about a whole array of things that I've experienced in my life and my trials and tribulations. And I wrote this book in hopes that because of all the things that I've had to go through in life, that the fact that through the grace of God, I was able to overcome a lot of these things. I'm hoping that if maybe someone out there um, might have gone through some of these things or are going through some of the things that I talk about, that then maybe you too will be able to find your strength and to come back and bring yourself back to you. Basically, I start the book off by talking about my childhood. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and I come from a family of nine. I have six brothers and two other sisters. And because of my mom and dad having domestic problems, uh, we were separated from my dad at a young age. But my mom remarried, and she remarried to a guy that was in the Air Force. And so that is what took me to Japan. He had gotten a 3-year stay, and we were stationed at Yokota Air Force Base, where I went to school and graduated early, but I also started working at the age of 15 in Japan. I was a part of um, a singing and dance group called the Puppets, and we were dancing in Shinjuku at a club called the Big Together Club. But we also toured all over Tokyo, and we even did commercials for them. I also did a lot of commercials for different companies, uh, Shiseido, Paraco. Did a lot of modeling, fur coats up at Mount Fuji. I just, really, really enjoyed myself. And then I learned a lot being there. I also worked at the Hostess Club. So I talk about this in the book. And then I go on to talk about how once I got back to the United States, I went and did Playboy. So I went and became Miss June 1980, a centerfold for Playboy. And after that, I got a lot of work doing commercials. I was involved in a lot of films with Eddie Murphy, Ron Howard, Henry Winkler, um, just Jessica Leah, Tom Berenger. I worked with a lot of people, Charles Bronson, and then I did a lot of commercials. I did commercials for Legs, IBM, Kentucky Fried Chicken, I mean, you name it, I did it until I got the job of a lifetime. And I was working with Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. So I talk about my day by day being with Michael and how much fun we had and just how he made me laugh every day and how close we gotten to each other. And I talk about a little bit about what happened behind the scenes with me and Michael, the second kiss, and so I really go in and to give you guys a day by day description of my time spent with Michael, and then I talk about what happened after Thriller, which was not very good because to tell you the truth, I was not prepared. I was not prepared for everything that had happened to me. I mean, between the groupies and the drugs and the domestic violence and the Me Too with the directors wanting more from me in order to give me more jobs. There's all kind of things that happened to my life. There was a car bombing. There was a kidnapping. I had been um, held hostage in someone's basement. I mean, there is so many things. I talk about how I had tried to commit suicide. I mean, being homeless. If there's just so much that I went through in my life, and only through the grace of God, I am still standing here to tell my story. And I just want and hope that, basically, if any of you guys out there are going through any of these things, that, knowing that I came through it, I'm hoping that, this will give you the strength and the hope that maybe you also can get through whatever it is you're going through. So yeah, that's basically, what's going on in my book. And I just hope you guys, you know, get a copy of it. It's called The Thrill of It All. It seems like a lot of people today want to become famous, but they first of all, you have to make sure and have the passion. Know that this is really what you want to do with your life. And also, you might want to think about having something else to fall back on, just in case it doesn't work. And I think that in the industry today, it's a lot more open than it was before. So now you have TikTok, you got Instagram, you got a lot of different ways that you can show your craft. And so you might want to use these tools to get yourself going and to maybe get yourself out there and get some viewers, but then also to get an agent. So, like for me, I had an agent. If you get an agent, if you want to model, you want to get an agent that's is going to take care of that. If you want to get involved in singing, you need to maybe put a couple of songs together and then have maybe a little video to show, and also try to get an agent to help represent you for that. But um yeah, you just have to really be careful, because you don't really want to go on interviews by yourself. That's what happened to me also. I went on a couple of interviews once I got back from Japan, and I talk about it in my book, and it was not a pretty sight, because they will trick you and they will make you think that, oh, okay, if you do this for me, I'll give you a part in the movie. So you really have to be careful, because that is out there really in big time. And I wasn't aware. I was not prepared. My book is about self-preservation. And I didn't know really what that was. And my aunt, she had kept saying this to me. Ola, self-preservation, self-preservation. So once I figured that out, it's like, oh my God, I need to take care of myself. So when I wrote this book, I was going through a healing process. And for me to go through that healing process, I had to write it all out. I had to write it all down. I had to get it out of myself. And I just felt like this is something that needed to be told. People need to understand, and they need to know what this business is all about, what people will do to you, and what situations you might be able to get in, or and maybe not get out of. So it was very dear to me to want to do this and to tell this story.
So my first one is, what's your favorite part about living in Japan? About Japan.
My favorite part about Japan was the people. The people were so nice and kind to me when I first got there. I remember I had to go on an interview, and I was taking the subway train, and I had got lost. And so I had asked somebody if they could help direct me to where I had to go. I showing them, the address and where I had to go and the location on the piece of paper. And so not only did they help me, they took me to that location. Wow. And I will never, ever forget that. So the kindness that was bestowed to me in Japan from the people is something I will always treasure. I will never, ever forget.
My last one is, how long did it take to like film the music video Thriller? And like, did you have to come back for anything, or like, how long did it take? Yeah.
Okay. It took us 2 weeks to film the video. So we were on the set every morning early, like 7 o'clock, and we didn't leave until like maybe midnight or a little after midnight. So Michael and I spent a lot of time together every day. I had lunch with him in his trailer every day, and so I tell some great stories in the book. So
sure.
I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. That was a good question, because a lot of people, they don't talk to me about my scream. And so it really means a lot to me that people, give me, a little credit for, the little bit of part that I played in the video. But I remember thinking, if, I needed to scream as loud as I could, and I needed to be able to scare you with the scream, because I figured I wanted to do a really, really good job for Michael, first of all. And I wanted to scare you. And I figured if I could scare myself, my goal was to make sure to really, really scare the audience. You can get it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Google Play or ebook. It's sold on all the outlets. And
Okay.
also, I just started my my website. It's called olaray.com. So a lot of people that are listening out there, you guys, if you want to know where to find the book, or you want to know how to get in contact with me or get an autograph, signed picture, or whatever. I just started the website, so you guys got to let me, build it and get it together. But yeah, so yeah, you can buy the book anywhere a book is sold. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. God is great. God is great.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
That's the message I am spreading. My experience working in Tokyo. First of all, I was at the Big Together Club in Shinjuku. Like we did weekends there every weekend, and then we traveled all over Japan, playing at different clubs. We did commercials for the Big Together Club. I mean, I worked so much. I was working like 3 days out of the week and going to school at the same time. And then like I said, I also did hosting. I worked at a hostess club in Roppongi on some nights. And I did all of this at the age of 15, 16 and 17. We were not supposed to be dancing. It was me, my older sister, she's a year older, and I have my set of twin brothers, they're a year younger than I am. And then there were 2 GIs, and which formed the group. And so I can't believe how we got away with it, but everybody on the Air Force Base knew about it. All the, the captains, whatever. I remember them asking us to perform at one of the parties at the USO Club. So they were well aware that, we were in Tokyo dancing and doing what we do. So I remember
absolutely wild.
I know, huh? I remember Wolfman Jack had came and visit Dakota Air Force Base. And so that's when they threw a big party for him and they had us come and perform. So yeah, they let us get away with it. But I'm quite sure they were really happy when we left. Because we were traveling back and forth, coming back with a taxi, coming on base late at night. So it was not good, but and I really enjoyed going to school over there because the school was based on a college level. So I was able to graduate early, and I was also able to take my classes when I wanted them. So that's how I got away with doing everything I was doing. I mean, Monday I would have one class, and then on Tuesday I would double up, or maybe have three, and then on Wednesday maybe four, and I would take breaks every hour after each class to do my homework. So I never had homework. And then on Fridays, I might have one class maybe early in the morning, and then I was off and running to Tokyo. I had an agent who sent me out to meet with John Landis. And
Mhm.
when I went on the interview, I still didn't know that it was for Michael. He sat me down and he started explaining to me that he needed a girl that could play two parts.
Right.
One from the 1950s, another modern day type girl. And
Uh-huh.
he said that you would be dating the same guy, and then on the screen, your boyfriend will turn into a werewolf. Oh, okay, thank you. That's a lot better. I can see you now.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Okay, so anyway, as he continued to explain to me, what this is all about, he started playing Thriller. And I looked at him and I said, I said, I know you're not talking about Michael Jackson. And he said, yeah. And I said, oh my God, you got to give me the part. And I just started convincing him that I was that girl. I said, look, there's a lot of other women that can't handle Michael. I can handle Michael. I know exactly what to do. So anyway, he told me, he said, okay, well, I'm going to talk to Michael. And because also, I did the Playboy. So I'd asked John Landis, I'm like, does Michael know that I've been in the Playboy? And is that going to be a problem? Because I know that he's Jehovah's Witness. And so John said, well, let me talk to him. And I'll give you a call in 2 weeks. And so after 2 weeks, I got the call. And I just started jumping up and down on my bed. I was so happy. I was the happiest girl in the world. And then just, once I got on the set and started hanging out with Michael every day, I was so nervous, but I was trying not to show it. And
Right.
I remember drinking tea all the time. And so to keep me calm, chamomile tea. And so Michael was like saying, what are you drinking? He said, are you drinking some wine? Are you drinking some alcohol? Because, Michael was totally straight back in those days. And I said, no, I'm drinking tea. And so he said, And I said, come on. And he said, okay, let me taste it. And I'm thinking to myself, Michael getting ready to taste my tea. So anyway, I let him taste it. And he said, okay. And so anyway, that's just one of the stories, girl. There are so many of them in the book. So yeah.
And how did you feel like, I mean, were you new to the industry in terms of like entertainment and music at the time? I know
No.
aside from what you just related in Tokyo, but was that like the first big gig that you had done?
No. I actually, my first video was with George Benson for his song called Give Me the Night. And so that was my first video. So I worked with Quincy Jones twice, because he also produced George Benson. And so, but yeah, no, I've done lots of work. I also was a classic girl model, a spokesperson for Johnson Products. And it was the first time, that they made a product for Black people's hair to make it curly. And so I was that girl that did that. And I did a lot of promotion and touring all over, the United States. And I've done lots of work before, before I ended up doing what I did with Michael.
I'm looking forward to reading your book. I really am. So I'll try to get it as soon as possible. And I hope there's a part in there where I can at least read about you talking about Michael as a person. Like we all get information about him as the entertainer.
No,
but I don't really want to know that side of him that
yes,
well.
I give you a day by day.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I give you a day by day, and I give you some of the moments that we shared together, that no one knows about or has ever really heard about, and it'll make you cry, because I really wanted to be in a relationship with Michael, and he did too. But there were things that
factors at play.
Yeah, and so I talk about those in the book.
And
so
to get a little bit, and
I get a little bit
you as
personal
well,
with
because
you. Yeah,
sorry?
no, I get a little personal with you in the book about me and Michael's relationship. I'm not superficial. I'm not that kind of person. I'm gonna tell you like it is. I'm gonna explain everything like it was, and I don't sugarcoat anything.
Definitely. I don't, I'm not from a sugarcoating culture, and we don't sugarcoat in the Caribbean. So
there you go.
Yeah, but definitely I thank you for sharing this moment with us.
Thank
and
you so much.
Wish you all the best with what else you do.
Thank you.
Did you get to keep any of your wardrobe from the music video?
Yes, I got to keep my little jean outfit. And then thank you so much for asking that question, because there's a really funny story about that jean outfit. Because when I first went into wardrobe, they had me trying on these really slinky outfits. And I'm like, and Michael came into the wardrobe and he asked me, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm trying to figure out what to wear. And he's like, you don't like any of this? And I told him, no. I said, I would not wear any of these outfits to the movies. And I said, that's what the script calls. It calls for us to be going to the movies together. We're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And he's like, yeah, so what do you want? And what do you want to wear? And I told him, I want to wear jeans. And so he said, okay. And he sent someone out and they came back with a whole, array of jeans for me to pick and choose from. And so that's how that jean outfit came about. I picked that out. Michael is definitely a practical joker. And I remember one morning, I would always come outside of my trailer and I would just have my mirror and just, touching up my makeup. And Michael would always come and sit this close to me and stare at me while I would do it. And so one day he said to me, he said, Ola, I have a problem. He said that I need you to help me with. And I'm like, okay, Michael, what is it? And he said, can you help me get this shine off my nose? And I said, sure, Michael, all you got to do is take a little powder. I took the powder puff out and I put a little bit on his nose. And I'm like, okay, see, there you go. And he's like, wow. He said, can you go with me to my makeup artist trailer and explain to her what you just did? So we go run over to the makeup artist trailer. And Michael goes, look what Ola did. Ola got a powder puff and she got that shine off my nose. And the makeup artist looked at me and she said, girl, don't you know how many nose jobs Michael done had? She said, "There's no way we're gonna get that shine off his nose." And I was like, oh my God. And I looked at Michael. Michael was laughing so hard and he ran and I went running after him. So we're always doing things like that with each other. And he's always playing jokes on me and just making me laugh. And we had a lot of fun.
Thank you. It's nice to hear those, kind of stories. I like to You see
Yeah.
everybody smile when you're saying that, and you smile when you say it, and that's
I
the
mean,
stuff we
just
like.
remembering, you know, the time I spent with him, it's always going to put a smile on my face, you know.